Right. Hi, Varun.
Hello.
Hello. Okay. So, Varun, can you just start off with a bit of introduction? Can you tell everybody a little bit more about yourself?
Currently working at Bloomberg as a data analyst. Prior to this, I was also working in capital markets and then before that, I was also working in products. So I've been working in the financial industry for about 3 years now. Graduated from SME before that, also in economics and finance. That's roughly about myself. I came to Jamboree. I enrolled in February, end of February. Just took my GMAT and just cleared my GMAT. So that's huge weight off my shoulder. Um,
So, when you enrolled in February, and when did you take your GMAT exam?
I took it at 27 May. Yeah, 27 May.
Three
So
months. So
May.
basically, you had 3 months.
Actually, two because I actually enrolled end of February.
Ah, okay. So two
So it
months,
was
two
almost
months.
March. It was almost March, April, and then May. And then I just went straight after my first round of master classes, and I straight away went for the uh,
The
exam.
exam. Yeah. So, Varun, before that, before joining, did you do your own self preparation, or maybe buy some books?
Not really, because it's very hard. Because when you look at the content for GMAT online, it's very broad. It seems like elementary school math, but then you cannot really grasp as to why is it that there's such a high cutoff for scores, and why there's so many percentiles, why people not able to score. So obviously, it should give a hint that there is something more than just the concept itself. So I was pretty sure that I would need more direction than just the concept. So I didn't start preparing on my own.
So, Varun, can you share more about, okay, before that, what is your score?
I got a 720.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the 94th percentile.
What is the breakdown? Verbal, how many?
49 for bonds, 40 for verbal, 6 for
Mm-hmm.
AWA, and 6 for IR.
Wow, that's great. Were you surprised by the score?
Yeah, especially because I kind of forgot that there's a IR section. So I got really nervous during the IR section. I was like, oops, I forgot about this one, and I completely didn't prepare for it. So
You were
I
just
was
focusing on verbal and quant,
Yeah, I completely. I
and
mean,
then
I did prepare for AWA, but I completely forgot about IR. For some reason, it just went off my head. And then I was like, on that day, I was like, oh, there's 4 sections. Like, what's this fourth section? But it
fourth section.
was relatively manageable, especially if I just kept in mind like what I learned during classes, and that really helped to calm me down during the exam.
Okay, so getting 720 is impressive, and you only had 2 months of preparation. What can you share a little bit more about, like, what happens during the 2 months? Like, what did you do, or what works for you?
Oh, okay. So first month, I really just squeezed all my classes in. Like, my tutors will tell you I went for like 3-4 classes a week. So I finished in about a month for all the classes. So I finished 16 classes, 8 verbal in within a month, and I started on master classes within 1 month as well. So for me, I was quite accelerated in terms of my pace, because I wanted to do it before moving to a new workplace. So I wanted to clear my GMAT before that. So it was quite hectic. So I would be doing like 2 classes on a Sunday, 2 classes on a Saturday, and then even a weekday class. So I was doing like on average 4 classes a week sort of thing. So first month I was really just attending classes and getting all my concepts done. And the second month was just full on doing as many questions as possible. For me, variety was key in terms of questions. So I just did a lot of the official guide. Plus, I did a lot of the Jamboree questions as well.
So you're saying that you use the portal a lot, right?
Yes, the portal. I did quite a few of the portal exercises, and book 2 from Jamboree as well.
Okay. And did you, other than just classes, did you approach the faculties for extra hours or?
We had extra hours. Obviously, my working hours are a bit long, so we didn't have a lot of time so we could physically meet up. And then the lockdown happened, and obviously there's a lot of restrictions on that and everything. But we tried. I mean, there was once I even took sort of with my verbal prof, and And then we had like our consultation on the train home. So like half an hour, 45 minutes of consultation on the way home, because that was the only time slot we could find on a Monday night. So at 10 to 10:45, you're having consult on the train. So we did a lot of outside class practice and consult as well. And obviously there was a lot of extra work from the faculty as well. Like they were just telling me to do extra practice as well. So I followed that through as well.
Okay, why don't we talk about what happens on the 27th of May? How was the actual day like?
It was a really empty center because of COVID. And I arrived like really early at 10 a.m. and they just said you can take the exam early, even though it was like a 1 hour early because there were so many slots there. A lot of people are taking the exam online, right, because of COVID. But I prefer center. I just prefer that exam environment. So I went to the center. You go in, you just kind of you bring in your passport, they scan you, they register you and everything. All the temperature checks are done. All the security clearance is done. You go in and then you feel a bit stressed, but you also feel like, okay, it'll finally be over, like all those months of preparation, whether it be 2 months or 4 months, it will finally be over. So you have a sort of like a relief and you have nothing to lose at that point in time either. So you can select what order you do your paper in. So I prefer to start with quants, or you can start with verbal. Definitely not starting with AWA. I don't even know why the option exists. That's just so tiring to do first. And I will be very honest, like the time pressure is real in the exam because you really see the clock go down, and that was one of the things that's helpful for the Jamboree portal because there was a time pressure there as well. The screen will just go blank if you don't finish it. So it's very stressful that the time pressure is there, but you really got to remember what you learned in classes and the logic that was applied in classes, and you just got to follow it in a very structured manner throughout the exam. And obviously at the end I got my unofficial score and I was like, yay, I cleared it.
Okay, so I mean, now that you've gotten the score, what's next for you?
Definitely looking for admissions, but it's a very huge process as well. It's not so simple as I got the score and that's just the first part, right? There's just one tick off. There's like admission, there's like interviews and referrals together and essays to write, and obviously you have to think about what school you want to go to because each school has their own specialization. So I'm conferring with the faculty, what are their tips and what are the suitable schools for me based on my preferences. Asking people in the industry as well, what, and those who did MBA as well, what is their preference of school as well. Especially if you do get a good score, you will have quite a few choices, so you have to make your choice. I didn't choose to send my scores to 5 schools during the exam itself because I wasn't sure what school I wanted to. I hadn't researched on that yet. I knew I wanted a good score because I wanted the options, but I didn't know what school I wanted, so I didn't send it. But it is an expensive course, so you really got to think about where you want to send and pay the application fees for and everything. So now it's all the planning stages for probably the 2023 intake for MBA, 2023-2024 intake for MBA because it's valid for 5 years, so I have some time.
So are you planning to stay in Singapore, to study in Singapore, or are you looking at abroad?
Well, there are a lot of options in Singapore as well. There's NUS and SMU. I was a SMU alumni, so I get a lot of. It's very practical in terms of cost savings for me to go to SMU to do my MBA. And there's INSEAD, but obviously, I also got to think about what each school has to offer in terms of specialization and what they're known for. And when I have the choices, I would like to explore a bit more. So that's why I'm waiting for the virus to be a little calmer and travel to open up a bit more. So not applying for this year, next year onwards, see how the situation goes. So I mean, there are options in Singapore, but we will see, based on the social circumstances at that point in time where I can go.
Okay, and just any final tips for any other for other people who are planning to do their GMAT?
I think practice is really key, and time practice is really key because on that day you can know everything, but the pressure and the nerves from seeing the timer go down is real, and it can really derail your focus. It can really put you off, especially because you have to only take a certain amount of time at each question. And so if you take like a few seconds extra, you're going to get very stressed quite fast. So you really got to do time practices, and you got to really spend the last 1 month practicing, and you have to practice a variety of questions, and you have to do your official guide as much as you can. Like, if you can do it repeatedly, sure, and do a lot of variety and prepare for like the worst kind of questions, because if you are doing well, I'll be honest, like the questions scaled up really fast during the exam. I was just like, okay, this difficulty is getting like really difficult. I was confused as to whether I don't know my stuff or this exam is getting really difficult. I guess it was a good sign that the exam was getting difficult because it is an adaptive test. Obviously, there's no guarantee that the next question will always be tougher than the previous one, but ideally you do want a scaling difficulty, right? You do want to have the experience of scaling difficulty as compared to downward scaling. So do the worst kind of questions, do the really tough questions at the back of Fishika for sure.
Basically working hard, because you really need to put in the time and the effort to
You
do all the
definitely need to put in the hours, but within the hours you need to make it very strategic. You need to remind yourself that it is not a free for all on a day. It is a timed exam. You really have to be very realistic about the time expectations on the day. That is where I think nerves may come in, because of time pressure more than just the content itself.
All right. Anyway, thank you so much for your time, Varun.
No worries.
Thank you for sharing with us. 720 is a very impressive score.
Thank you.
So, once you actually start on the applications and you get admits from school, do inform us as well. We would like to.
Yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Varun.
Thank you so much.